Welcome to the Break Free Find Joy podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Sickles, and this is where we learn to show up for ourselves so we can show up for our lives and the people that we love and just enjoy life better. Imagine a life where you wake up excited, not just to start the day, but to truly live it and be present. That's what we're all about here. Now, there's so many things to get into today. I don't remember what that last episode. I know I was driving and I was really excited and I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And I came back that next week and I recorded a video and then I never put it out because I believe it was right around that time that I found out I was losing my job. And I was not supposed to know. I was not supposed to get the news when I did, ideally for most corporations. But we were going into what we thought was renew our contract. I had a gut feeling that it wasn't going to go that way, but I had some other things that finally got put on the right track where I was moving. We were supposed to get me into the next step to where I can move into leadership and management again. I finally got my schooling approved and a certification for that approved. I was very excited about it. I had been studying. And so when we went into this meeting and we had higher ups from my company or my previous company, I guess now, that were there. And we had gone around looking at things and I was giving them the rundown of different things that I thought we could do in the future before we went into the meeting with the leadership of the company that we were contracted with. And it was pretty much right off the bat that they were like, we're just going to let you know right now that we're not renewing this contract. We already had known the month before that part of the factory was closing down just due to cost and the economy and all these different things. And that was the main thing where I was like, I don't think that we're going to be moving forward, not because what we do isn't valuable or all the different things, but just purely because if they're losing part of their business, it's never good for contractors. I was in that field for 13 years and had been up into the management, and 5 of the 4 factories that I worked in have now closed. And so I could see all the similarities. And so after that, my leadership was very caught off guard. They felt very bad that I was in there and got that information at the same time that they did, which is totally fair. I can't imagine being someone who's higher up and then knowing like you're taking in that information at the same time as they are, and you don't really have the time to process it and give that information to them. I preferred knowing much more in advance because they probably would have gone through and done more planning before they let us know anything. I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks before we actually had a meeting to discuss what was going on after that. And that was very stressful. But it was actually refreshing for me because after that meeting, they let us stay in the conference room, just my company people, and they discussed and they wanted to know how myself and my manager were doing. There was only 2 of us that were working there, and then the other 2 were our higher ups had come down for the meeting. And they were all understandably shocked. And so when they looked to me, I was just honest because at this point, what are we going to do? Like, I'm already losing my job. So I was able to say, I'm not, honestly. I had a feeling, and of course, I don't want it to be true. And I'm not saying I was expecting it to go this way, but I'm not shocked that it did because of all the things that I've experienced before. And they were like, well, what do you mean? And there were just certain questions that I was asked by other people in the leadership for that company and things where you could tell they were wanting to know how to do it themselves and those type of things that I have seen before. And I don't know how they really felt about that because maybe they felt like I didn't share that information before, so I don't know. But I wasn't focused on that. I was like, what? I want to say my piece and what I'm really feeling right now, because this is a lot to take in. But also at the same time, it is funny that I was like, of course it would happen when I've been fighting to get my schooling put into the budget for the last 3 years. And of course, when it's finally approved, that's when we're going to have these issues. I was one of the leaders for our women's group and had helped run global meetings and was really enjoying that part of it. And now, I'm not going to be there. And I don't know. I wanted to say what I felt. And I was also, optimistic about it, because in all honesty, I had big dreams for this podcast. When I started, honestly, I wanted to try to push it, and I wanted to get out of the factory, mainly because the mindset for a lot of people in the industry isn't to change and to grow and be innovative, even though that is kind of what they say. It's not like what they're really wanting. And that's the place in my life that I'm at. I was looking for ways to get out, but at the same time, the job paid good. There was nothing else around here that was going to pay me that much. I was comfortable. I knew what I was doing, as much as it would frustrate me. And there were things that really did annoy me. I liked the job. I've honestly really liked the factory work for the most part, until it felt like I didn't have room to grow. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, but it wasn't fitting just where we were at. And so when they were asking kind of what we were doing or what our plans were, which obviously we got it 5 minutes ago, so not a whole lot. And my manager, thankfully, was close enough to retirement that just kind of, it moved up his plan. That's why we were pushing to get me into position to take over, was because he wanted to pass it off to me or give me the best chance to do that when he did choose to retire. So that just got moved up faster than what either one of us kind of wanted it to be. But it felt really good to sit in the room. It had, how many, were all four of us there? I believe there were four of us. So me and three men who, I think all of them were above 50. And most of them have been in the industry for 20 plus years. And to be 32, a young woman, and handle that news in the way of I'm not shocked, and to be positive about it felt very empowering. I don't know how else to say it. And it's not it I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than that's just how I felt as it happened. We went out to eat after that. That's kind of where I more struggle. So I can do well in a setting where I know what the expectations are at work and things like that. I struggle when you're going out and then now what are the rules, especially after you just get told you're losing your job, we're going to go out to eat, and then, they're going to leave and fly off. We thought this was going to be like, hey, we got more business, or here's extra jobs that you need to do. And instead it's, and it was pretty clear. We knew that the contract was ending, which is why we were coming in to renew the contract, because it was ending in December. So we always want to try to get stuff renewed before that. And again, I was at that place for 5 years. The first year we didn't have a contract. There was some things going on. And so I had been through the contract renewal phase with them twice, and this just didn't fit the norm. And just another thing for me of why I wasn't shocked that it did happen. It has been a very wild ride. So that was back in October. Honestly, I just put the papers that I had over here because I have the calendar that I had at my desk at work here, and I had saved because I keep notes on all the different things. And so I actually had the date and everything marked on there from when I got the news, and then started marking off like, well, how many days do we have? All these different things. And it was just a roller coaster of emotions. It still is. Like, I got a severance package, very thankful. Compared to what I know other people have gotten for severance, it was decent. The only thing that stinks is, so I had worked with this company. They had gone through a merger and all these different things, but I have 13 years of experience with the company. However, I had left the company two separate times. One, I came back before the year, whatever, so they gave me my tenure back. And then the second time I left, due to a lot of things, and I didn't come back until just after the year. And when I took the job, they would not give me my tenure back. So I only had 5 years in. I just hit the 5 year mark August of last year. So that's all that they would compensate me for working with that. So I lost out on a good portion. And when they did the merger of the company, they drastically shrank the severance packages. So that was a lot to handle because I was thinking I would have far more time to do things and to get my business up and running. I have been working on learning skills for doing online marketing, and I've wanted to do coaching for the last 3 years. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have hopefully about 10 to 12 weeks of severance or payments because we get paid every 2 weeks. I was hoping for at least 10 to 12 of that. That's not what I got. I got 6 weeks. So that's actually going to be coming to an end very shortly. I think it's the first week of March that that ends. And I'm a mother of two littles. My partner travels for work about 23 weeks out of the year. So that's about half the year that he's gone Monday through Friday, having two young kids and trying to figure out how to get another job or all these different things. That's a lot. So I was very stressed about that. We didn't get that information until, let's see, October. It was November. Probably just over a month before the end. So I mean, I was doing worst case scenarios. I tend to, when I get information, like I want to know, and I'm working through from like the bottom up, and I'll do the worst case scenario and all these different things. So that's what I did. I was like, well, they have to give you a week per year. Previously, what it was, because we couldn't find a policy, I looked everywhere, which is what told me it's probably not going to be what it was before, because I couldn't find anything after the merger, and that's pretty much a tall tale sign that it's not the same, but they haven't fully gotten it approved or whatnot. So I was hoping it was 2 weeks before, so that's where I got that 10 weeks, and so I was hoping that's where it would be. It was not. So when I got the notice that it was going to be 6 payments, I very much got upset. I had just traveled out of town for the women's group that I was a part of. Since I was in leadership, I was able to get it put into the budget for me to travel to Pennsylvania and go to the Pennsylvania's Conference for Women. I'm terrible at remembering names, but it was incredible. That was such a good one. Got to see so many different people. Their mayor is so fun, and just it was just fantastic. It was a good time, and I got to meet people that I have worked with for the last 3 years. Some of them I have done some conversations with for like the last 6 years or something, but I've never met in person because I'm in Iowa and they're clear over in Pennsylvania. So it was really fun, but it was also bittersweet because some of them knew, but most of them did not know until I told them when I was there that I was no longer going to be working with the company come the beginning of this year. So December 31st was our last day. And honestly, it was before that because the plant was closed for the holidays. So I think it was like the 20th of December was our last working day. And that's when they shut down our access to the computer and all those things. So it was a lot to have all those things and be very excited about what the future was going to hold. Really finding my group of people at work that I felt comfortable with, doing things like speaking in global meetings, which I never thought I would be able to do. Traveling for things and meeting other women in manufacturing with our company and others' companies, because the year before I was able to go to the Women's in Manufacturing conference in San Diego, I believe. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a lot to handle, and so that is why I didn't go straight from doing that one video to going into the podcast. Even though I wanted to talk about the journey and the ways that I was preparing for all those things, there was just so much going on and things that we were trying to figure out that I guess I just felt too nervous to talk about it, or I didn't want to feel. Part of it was I didn't want to get in trouble with the company either. I think that's a big thing that held me back is, I didn't want it to jeopardize what I had or all the different things, even though I don't think it would have, because it's not like I wasn't super high up, and it's not like this podcast is huge or anything. So anyway, that's that part of it. And now so we're moving forward. The severance is going to end. What then? I've pretty much committed to this. I have committed. I need to use the right language. That for the next year, I'm going to focus on launching my business, and I'm going to get serious about getting consistent with, content, like making sure I'm doing this podcast, posting on all the different social media things. I keep saying I'm going to do all these things on LinkedIn. I make a good post, it does well, I get feedback, and then I don't do it. And a lot of it was because I was afraid of how people would see me or judge me and all those different things. And then also I've been sick, like pretty sick. Everybody's getting it. It's rough, right? So it's scary to say that out loud. Now, that does not mean that I might not, sorry, I had a text come up there and it totally distracted me. And that's one of my fears is I do have ADHD. So even though I know that there are a lot of successful ADHD entrepreneurs and things like that, that's something that has held me back, is fearing that I won't be able to stay focused because I have not in the past. But also I've always had a full-time job or other things going on in my life. I haven't actually put focus on like, this is what I'm doing. So I'm committed to trying it and seeing where it goes, and also being open to all the different ways that could go. That could mean that I'm working part-time or all the other things. Like, I'm open, but I just know that this is going to be the thing that I'm putting a lot of effort into. I committed to a year of mentorship from, you've probably heard me talk about it on here, but Group Juice, they teach affiliate marketing, but their big thing is teaching people how to build communities of people, which is what I'm going to be doing with this podcast. It's not like, I want to create a safe community where people feel seen, heard, and able to ask questions, and so we can learn and grow together, because there's a lot of things that I know, but there's a lot of things that I struggle with too. I'm not super articulate with the way that I express myself, the thoughts that I have. There's so much knowledge that I have, so many books that I've read that have helped me get to where I am today, but putting those things into a concise thought that I can say out loud is hard for me, and that's okay. I'm going to learn that as I go, and you guys get to learn with me, and I'm going to learn from you guys on all the different things. What's helpful? What's information that you actually want? Do you want to hear how I've made it through these things, or how I felt, or do you just want a step process that you feel like just to say, this is what I've done? I really did think about, I had an outline where it's okay, I'm just going to say, these are the things that have happened since then. Here's what I've done, and done it that way. But that's not how my brain works and how I really want to do the podcast. I want to be me and just talk about everything that I've been going through, and as I do it, drop nuggets, and then I could do a recap. And I'm working on short form content, because I know a lot of people can't do sitting down for 20 minutes to 45 minutes to listen to something. We would like to, but we don't. I'm obsessed since this is a segue, but this book, Onyx Storm, Rebecca Yarros. I tried to start reading, what was the book? Fourth Wing, the very first book. I do not have that copy. It's supposed to be coming very soon, the Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. But I didn't start reading those until December, the last week of December, because I had other friends who had read the series and were kept talking to me, and it took me, I kept trying to read the books and I couldn't get into it. And then finally I got the audiobook, just started listening to it. I got hooked, and I finished all 3 books, because that one just came out in January, right as I was finishing the second book. And so I finished them all within a week once I really started listening. And I forgot where I was going with this. But anyway, that's another thing that's changed since I lost my job, is I found another obsession with these books. It's so good. I love those books, and now I'm interacting with a whole different community of people that love these books and fantasy books and things that I also haven't had time for in the last few years, especially since becoming a mom. I have my Doctor Who clock over there on the wall that my dad got me for Christmas. I've been able to watch a bit of that show that I absolutely love, and it brings me a lot of joy, but I just have not been able to spend time doing those type of things. I was doing the 5 minutes. That's how I started getting joy into my life, is okay, what can I do for 5 minutes for myself? And that's something therapy helped me with. I had to go into trauma-informed therapy, because there were a lot of things happening in our family, and I didn't know who I was, and I questioned if I was a good person and all of these things. And in that experience, that's what helped me, okay, who am I? What do I want? And I started off with doing 5 minutes in my car. I was dedicated to picking one song that would make me happy, make me dance in the car, listen to that before I go and pick my kids up. Instead of switching straight from work to rushing to get the kids and fearing all the different thoughts of worrying that the teachers think I'm a terrible mom and all of these different things, I took that time to experience joy and be happy, to get myself in the right headspace to pick my kids up, because we were having a rough time. One of my kiddos didn't want to leave daycare and would have a lot of issues and would just not be happy and scream the whole way home. And my other child would be crying when I would pick him up because he was so upset about like how the day went and feeling like he didn't have friends and all these different things. And so it just felt like I was being pulled in different directions. Like, one kid doesn't even want to come home. What am I doing wrong? And the other kid's not feeling good at school and struggling, and I don't know how to help them. Like, what am I doing wrong there? And I can't imagine learning that I'm losing my job without having built the skills that I have previously. Because being a part of the group juice community and the mentors that I have now and the group of people that are also in that community, I was able to go and talk to them when I got this information, and they rallied around me. And one, just made me feel seen, like knowing that that sucks and it's a really difficult thing to go through. And then two, being like you have stuff to give. There's things that you know that you can offer people, and reminding me that there's more options than just going back to a job that I'm not going to like, that's going to take me away from the kids and all the different things. So I'm trying to keep that in mind in all of these things, the things that had to happen to get me to where I am today, to be able to handle the life-changing thing that is losing a job, especially when it's been a career. It's not like I had this job for a year or any of those things. This was my career. Even though I had plans of doing something different and other things that I was working on, I've been in this industry, in manufacturing, since I got out of high school. It's where I found my identity. It's what I was doing when I became a mother. And it's shaped so much of who I am that losing that when it wasn't my choice was hard. Like, I had taken for granted the fact that like I had a choice, and so to lose that agency was really difficult. But I had the skills. Like, I've grown so much in who I am, like my self-view, my self-worth, all those things, my self-awareness of recognizing that I had a flood of thoughts coming in of fear that my relationship was going to be over because we weren't going to be able to weather the stress of me losing my job, and fear that I would self-sabotage because my relationship, because now I feel like I'm not worthy of being a partner because I'm not bringing an income in. And I have always done that as an adult. I've never not worked. I've never not contributed. I feel like I'm failing my children because I don't have a job. And what are they going to miss out on? Is it selfish to pursue my dreams versus just going and getting another job? I had the awareness to notice those thoughts and actually take the time to work through them and not avoid them. It's so easy when we're overwhelmed to notice those things and then either let them completely overwhelm us or just start taking actions without taking the time to be like, well, is that true? Or I don't have the conversations. And I'm very thankful. Richard has been great through all of this. We've had really great discussions. We started couples therapy, which was very helpful. Beginning, it was rough, but it was really helpful. And once we were able to get on the same page of him understanding, like, the reason why I wanted to do it is because I am afraid. It's not that you are doing something wrong, or like, of course, we've been together for almost 10 years now. There are things that we need to work on, but this is coming because I am afraid. because typically I don't deal with these things very well. And I know that I'll probably get short with you and not do very well communicating like what I need because I'm struggling to know what I need. And so, like, coming in and doing this and working together is to help both of us. It's not to attack you or accuse you of anything or like that. I think that everything is over. It's because I want to make this work and I want it to be something that's helpful like for both of us. I want us to both feel solid as we're moving forward for ourselves and for our kids, because like it's stressful for the kids too when things are up in the air, and them recognizing that now they're going to school and I'm staying home. That was a hard adjustment. They wanted to stay home with me and all the different things. So that's it. That's been life. So I've lost my job. We'll be ending the severance soon. So you're going to see me be more open about the fact that I have things available to purchase. I am an affiliate for Group Juice, and I'm going to talk about that more. One, because yes, I can make sales with it, which will help bring income into my life, which I need. That is part of it. The main thing is they are the people who have really helped me through all of this and to learn about business and to keep moving forward. There's another group that I can do affiliate with, which is the Deep Breath program. I have to figure out, I think they changed the name of it. I cannot remember. Deep Breath is the portion that that's what they call our calls when we're working on it. And they are incredible. They've helped me do even more inner healing and are such a solid group of people that helped me, like, I don't know, just be myself and trust women more. Because at the time it was primarily just women in this group. And I really struggled with trusting friendships. And a lot of that is just me and things that I've been through in my family and all these different things. So I was able to unlearn things and get more rooted and feel confident in who I am. I was able to do coaching within the program, and having them call out the things that they see in me has been incredible. Then I also have my own personal 3-month coaching program that my mentors from Group Juice have helped me create that I'm really excited about. And honestly, I feel really confident about it. It's the marketing and getting to the point where I get clients that I struggle with. But that's just something I'm going to be learning. It's uncomfortable because it's new, not because it's bad. And I've worried about what people will think of me and all the different things. But the fact is, like, I know that this is what I want to do. I've just not done it because, frankly, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of failing, but mostly I'm afraid of succeeding. And that sounds silly to say, but honestly, that's one of the things that's been so nice about Group Juice and the other things is like hearing other people say the same things. That, yeah, it's scary because then there's these expectations of, am I going to be good enough to lead the people that I'm speaking to? And all the things that come with that. And taxes are scary to me for self-employment. I've heard all the different things about it, even though I have other family members who have their business and they're like, it's not that bad. But for me, it makes me very nervous. But it's going to be fine. And I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out what works for me and what works for my audience, how I can speak about these things in a way that doesn't feel like I'm pitching to you all the time, but you also know that I have things that can help you. I have a lot of knowledge coming from a person who grew up in a very dysfunctional family that does not like to talk about feelings, where boundaries are pretty much non existent, and feeling like an alien inside your own family as you're trying to figure out who you are is very disoriented. But I've done it, and I feel so much better and closer to a lot of my family. And it's because I put in a lot of work and effort and therapy and all of these things, because I felt like it was possible. And now I'm seeing this is like 11, 12 years later since I began the journey of really being me and figuring out what that meant, even if it meant I wouldn't have a lot of contact with my family, which was scary. It was very scary. And it was hard because I loved my family, but I knew that I wanted to live my life differently. And I knew my family loved me, but they could not accept the differences at that time. Like, now I can see that more comes from fear, and it makes people uncomfortable. When you do something different, it can make them feel like you feel like what they did was wrong, or this judgment and all these different things. To be honest, I was very judgmental. I was not great what I was doing and how I was saying things before, because I was doing it from a place of like anger and hurt and bitterness. And that's fine. That was a step I had to go through. It's a step most people go through, where you come out like with a lot of anger. And then you get to a place where, it's once you've been able to feel it and have been witnessed by other people who understand, you can look at it from a different point of view. It took me a long time because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the support. I didn't really understand how much having the support of people doing the same thing meant. And now there's amazing resources like the Good Inside. Good Inside with Dr. Becky. There's an app now. It's really great. You can do it. I don't know if you can do monthly, but I'm pretty sure you can do 3 months or a year subscription. So many cycle breakers in that group who are just wanting to be better parents for their children. There's teachers, there's tons of different stuff. She just put stuff in there for partnerships. So to help you with your relationship with your spouse as you're doing parenting, which who doesn't need that? Oh my gosh, I don't care how evolved and how great you work with things. Parenting is hard, and figuring out what the right things are for your child, especially if you feel like you and your parent, or you and your parents too, but if you and your partner aren't on the same page, that makes it difficult. But then you also have the feedback from your parents and society and all the things. Anyway, got a little off topic, but there are resources now that I know about that I can pass on to people going through what I've been through to help them move forward. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily easier, because no matter what, it's hard. It's hard because it is, not because you're doing it wrong or there's some hack that you're missing. That's just the way that it is. It's going to be difficult even if you have a straight path forward, because we're emotional beings and it's painful. Change is not easy. Even if it's, in your heart it's the right thing to do, you're still allowed to grieve and be sad about the loss of something, even if you're getting something better. I wish that it made it less painful. Sometimes it can be a little less painful, but a lot of times it's still going to be difficult. At least that's been my experience. So, and I don't know where I would have been if I didn't have that knowledge before going through the loss of my job, because now I feel far more confident in who I am as a person, and So when I made the decision, when Richard and I spoke and I told him what I would like to do, and we started making plans for it, I was able to, one, come to him confidently and have the conversation about what it is that I really want to pursue, and being prepared for the fact that he might disagree, and what that would look like moving forward, and the questions that I might get from my family members who, most of them are working 9 to 5 jobs. They have jobs or careers, and it does not make sense to do something like coaching. If you're going to have your own business, it would be doing construction or like having a car shop or like different things. Coaching is something that a lot of them are like, that, so what do you do? Like, you don't have a degree though. How are you helping people? And that used to make me really question myself and if I was qualified to do what I wanted to do. And it's kept me from moving forward. Those are valid points and valid questions. I'm not a therapist. I am not a lawyer, a counselor, any of those things. So, like, I would not say I'm going to be able to do those things with you. But what I can do is give you support, partner with you in finding who you, like, really discovering who you are. What are the goals that you want to work towards? It doesn't mean you need to do what I'm doing and be an entrepreneur or whatever. It could be being a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad. It could be that you want to move up in management in your company, but you're struggling to get people to take you seriously, or all the different things. And that's my favorite thing about coaching, is that the way that I've designed my program, it's based on the very first thing that we do is find out who you are and help you reconnect to yourself, and providing a safe place for you to do that and experiment and learn and have somebody to talk to and be in your corner for you, to challenge you, but also to support you and see you and to where you're at, because growing is hard. Changing is hard when you don't have support and somebody to point out ways that you've grown that you don't see yourself, because we typically set a very high bar. And then every time we get close to it, we move the bar again, and it can be very discouraging, and you might stop. I've stopped many times before and felt like I had failed, but that wasn't the case. I really did need the support. Now I have it, and I feel like the last 3 years have just been incredible, and such an incredible change from where I was 3 years ago to now. And I started 10 years ago. And that might sound very discouraging to people. One, if you work with me, you get the benefits of my information that I have now that you get to learn from. But also, it does take time, and knowing that up front is helpful. Of like, you're not going to get this done all in one day, but trust the process, and also build a community of people around you. Find the people around you who can remind you that you have come a long way from where you were. Every step counts. We just have to keep moving forward. I wish I would have taken, I didn't. I was going to cut a little thing, but so a lot of times we'll think, hold on. So this will be the end after, because I forgot that I was going to try to keep it short and then I didn't. So a lot of times we feel maybe that we're going in circles, right? And we just keep going around and around and around. But if this were a string, you'd be able to pull it up and it would still be going in circles. But each time that circle is, that distance is getting shorter. So you are learning, but yes, you're going to keep going through the same things over, and it is easy to get to confuse that with the fact that you're not growing. But you are. You're leveling up. It's at a different level that you are confronting this problem. Unless you're not learning and you're not growing or implementing something new, then yes, it might just keep repeating. You can take your power back once you realize you have agency and choice to change how you respond to that thing. And that doesn't mean fail forward. You might try one thing and it might blow up and not work at all. Now you know one way that doesn't work and you can try a different one. Don't let it discourage you. Easier said than done. Trust me, I many a times have messed up. It's been feels like my story with this podcast. But you know, I'm here and I'm dedicated to show up and make this work. This was not exactly where I wanted the podcast to go today, but it is. Like, I covered most of it. I'm just worried that other people won't find it helpful, or it was a lot of me talking and not a lot of me giving great advice or steps. And that's what I worry about, because I don't want to be somebody who's just talking about me and the things that I'm going through and what I want to give steps to how things move forward. But I feel like this was needed. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Here's where I've been. And where I'm going is to get consistent, specifically here on YouTube for sure, on the podcast, posting content, showing up, and really focusing on creating my business this year. And that is scary, because then I could fail and people will know that I failed, and I've tried different things where I worry that people are judging me. And you know what? That's fine, because no one's judging me more than me judging myself. So I just need to keep taking action. That is the word that I chose for myself this year is action. So you're going to see a lot of messy action, especially now that I'm getting one-on-one coaching from my mentors they will challenge me, especially now that I'm locked in for a year. They're going to push me. I have my first one-on-one with them tomorrow to really map stuff out. So very excited, very nervous. I'm going to be doing stuff that's out of my comfort zone. That's fine. I'm just going to try to fail forward faster and learn and keep growing. And I hope that you will join me. I hope if there's any questions that you have or things that you want to know, whether it's about how I'm dealing with my current situation, I don't know, anything. I have some questions. I am going to put a Google form out there. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, you can put it in there. There will be a way to be anonymous, a way if you want to have your name shouted out on the podcast when I read the question, those type of things. I do need to have 50 subscribers or subscriptions before I can go live on YouTube, but that's something I would like to do in the future. But for now, I am able to go live on Facebook, so that's another option if you guys have questions that you would like me to speak on and that you would get to hear in real time. Also playing around with the idea of doing like monthly Zoom calls where I pop on for an hour and anybody who shows up can come on and chat for an hour. We can discuss and see how things go. But I'll know more tomorrow after I have my one-on-one, because they're going to have, they've joined the 2 Comma Club with the Group Juice. They've made $1 million profit with it. And so they're further than me in business, and they're going to help me map out and get to the places that I want to go. So next episode will probably, I forgot. I have a list. I used Gemini Live, so I talked back and forth with the AI and mapped out a few different things, but I already forgot. Oh, bless my heart. Anyway. So if you're not already subscribed and you've made it through 50 minutes of this, please hit the subscribe button and help me reach that 50 subscribers so we can go live on here. If you could like this video, would greatly appreciate it. Comment below if any of this resonated with you. If you have a question, you can feel free to drop in the comments. I just know for me at first, I did not like asking questions in a way that it could be tracked back to me because I was worried somebody that I knew would see it and judge me or whatever. I don't know. Lots of fears there. So I want to allow there be a way that you can send it anonymously so that way it doesn't have to be connected to you if you don't want it to. Especially with the things that I'll get into with family dysfunction and all of those things. I totally get not wanting to have the conversations out in the open. But for the sake of the podcast, I would still love to be able to have some connection between all of us. So that being said, drop a comment if you could. That just helps all the stuff so more people can see it. And I will have the Google form in the description, so you can click on that, and that will give you another way where you can ask a question if you want your name to be read with it, anonymous, all the different things. And I've got a lot more that I'm working on that I planned on addressing today, but we got the main points. I will get more concise as we go is the plan, but for now, long story long, this is life, and I'll catch you up on the next one.